If you enjoy insufferable male main characters who can't make any decisions, then you are going to love
Bleach.
Well, hello, and welcome back to Gateway to Anime. How are you all? What's going on, Charlie? How you going?
I'm good. Just about to say goodbye to some of my favorite shows I've seen in a couple of years, though. So I'm actually a little bit sad.
Really?
Yeah, like I had watched the finale for two of them in particular. They aired last week and then this week, and I feel like a little bit of my heart is gone.
Wow.
And I'm now going to have to either read the manga or they're going to have to announce a fucking season 2 or I might start some sort of riot. And by riot, I mean write an angry letter.
Strongly worded letter, which won't be read. On
a mad post.
On Mal. Graham, how are you, mate?
No strong feelings either way.
Perfectly ambivalent.
Someone didn't watch Skip to Loafer. That's all I'll say.
This is true.
Or you'd be feeling as passionately as I am.
All right, so we're now talk about this. This is a double whammy episode combined together, which is, of course, our spring 2023 roundup, followed by our predictions / hype up of summer 2023. So let's just go back over some of the shows that have just aired. Charlie, why don't you've just come in hot with a couple of takes, so why don't you just take us off? How did you skip to Loafer? Talk to us.
So anyone who's watched our predictions and then our mid check-in, I gave it a really big spiel then about why I like this show. And I'd say the second half of this season that has aired has only cemented why I like it even further. I think that this show, which is about a plucky country girl who decides to move to Tokyo to pursue her dream of going to a very good high school because she wants to become a politician to help out her hometown. So she's like, goes to one of the top schools because she's studies really hard and gets into one of the top schools, and she goes there and she finds herself a bit out of her depth socially, but she gives it her best. And basically it's a slice of life about kind of a fish out of water tale, but about finding yourself and not making judgments on people's appearances and their backgrounds. And it's like just a very, very wholesome high school show. Romance, kind of. I wouldn't call it like a strict romance. It's not like it ends with a big confession or anything like that. It's kind of more exploring relationships of friendship and accepting yourself. And some of the best representation I've seen in an anime or a manga, as I said before, I've actually gone ahead and read the manga. After the first 2 episodes, I went and read the whole manga, which the last time I did that was with Blue Period. So there's like certain kind of like charm that it got me as just a story I wanted to continue. And I think that it has some of the best trans representation that is just done with pretty much no fanfare. It's just that one of the main characters is a trans character, and it's just freaking awesome. Like, they're a great character, and that is a huge part of the main character's life, and it's never really commented on. Like, it's not the main storyline. It's kind of, I think it's really good, and it kind of got me excited for what we can look forward to for modern shoujos looking forward. Hopefully.
Okay.
Obviously, there's a bunch of other problematic ones I'm going to talk about. I'm like, for every Skip to Loafer, there's another Rent-A-Girlfriend. So, we don't really know what we're going to get. But there's charm in both of them. Just watch it. And honestly, my favorite thing to do was read the comments on Crunchyroll. Everyone, it would make me laugh.
Crunchyroll has comments?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I
and
did not know that.
Don't read them before the episode because a lot of people spoil
a lot of
shit.
spoilers.
I don't know that.
Yeah. Oh, it's so entertaining, particularly when they're like late with the episode and people are like,
Where is it?
Yeah, I basically would read it and I found my heart a bit warmed because a lot of comments, which are probably lies, to be honest. I can't believe every comment you read, but it would be like, some people would be like, I'm a 35-year-old man and this is my favorite show. And then someone would be like, I'm a 50-year-old man and this is my favorite show. And then people would be like, I'm also in my 30s and I love this show.
I'm an 89-year-old Civil War vet. I love this.
And I'm like, this must be true.
This guy.
You wrote it on Crunchyroll.
I've actually shown this, and we talked about it before, to a couple of people who asked me for recommendations, and I went, look, I usually give the shonen battle recommendations because I love that stuff too, but I've given a couple of people who are not really usually behind this sort of anime this recommendation, and they've really enjoyed it.
There's also someone you gave it to who loves these kind of things, and of course, shout out to the very good friend of the podcast, Mr. Gerald Lillywhite.
Oh yeah, we talked about the mid-season as well. Gerald and I love it.
For him or something that just says shout out to Gerald.
Shout out to Gerald for his high school romance.
But the first season's fantastic. I really hope there's a season 2. I would love to see the rest of this story animated. I think it was a really good adaptation as well. It was well paced. It was beautifully animated, and you really just kind of were on board with everyone. It was so freaking wholesome. I fucking love a fucking wholesome story.
Oh!
I said that in a very unwholesome way,
wow.
but I
Very
swear.
wholesome thing.
That's a very Sam way of enjoying something.
threatening.
I just fucking love this fucking show.
I endorse this kind of endorsement.
But yeah, watch it. Pretty good opening. OP. Not as good as there's one that beats it though this season, because I'm going to ask you guys what your favorite OP was, but one really fucking
We know which
smashes it
one. We know
out of the
which one it
ballpark.
is. We know which one it is.
Banger. That's me on Skip to Loafer. You can come back to me for another one. I'm going to
Don't
yell
worry.
just as passionately
We
about.
certainly will. Gray, what was your favorite pick of the season?
Favorite? It would probably be Hell's Paradise.
Yeah.
Which
I mean,
I really thoroughly enjoyed. I think people had an issue with the animation.
Yes.
Which I didn't feel until the last episode aired the last few days.
yesterday, 3 days ago,
And
yeah.
some of the anime in that was like, fuck, did they run out of money? Did they give up? Like that final battle scene in the
Yes.
entrance to the palace.
So
I was like,
disappointing.
man, some of these character animations suck.
Yeah, a lot of problems there. So there's been a lot of, for people who aren't aware, obviously Hell's Paradise, of course, we've spoken about. It's the final of the Dark Trinity, but was the first of the Dark Trinity Trio, whatever you want to call it, to be published as a manga, but it's the last to get an anime adaptation. So, interestingly, it's by MAPPA. So all 3 of them have been animated by MAPPA, who are, of course, very famous for animating a lot of things, generally at once.
I cannot stand that opening.
It's a bad opening.
Motorcycle thing they do.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
like, who's this for?
It's for me. I quite like it.
But look, yeah, so there's been a lot of criticism from people basically being like, this is a pretty poor adaptation. It's kind of a bit lazy. It's very flat.
But
Obviously,
it
the
didn't
story's
start
good.
off that way.
No, it started well.
It felt very porous. I remember the scene where he's on the beach killing criminals, the sunset.
That was cool.
Even when they first get to the island, like the flowers, the giant monsters,
Monster things,
Doshai,
yeah.
Deshai, something like that.
Doshin or something.
That was good, but it just seemed like the more episodes came out, like the polish started to come off.
Yeah.
Just,
I thought it was a strong start, but I think I was more taken with the art style than the art that the anime did. Like, as in, like the stylistic character designs and the color pop that was probably like a really great choice, but obviously done from the manga art, which you said is is a really fantastic drawn piece. Yeah, it's a shame that it's had a bit of shit, copped a bit of shit.
Yeah.
But I think, unfortunately, as we've talked about, huge problem is just companies being absolutely inundated and the pressure is just so high and there's not enough people working on it. Credit where credit's due. I'm sure a lot of it looked great, and I hope that it gets a second season.
Yes.
I think this is only the first core. There's another core coming.
It's going to continue on into summer, I think, isn't it?
No, I think they stopped.
They're stopping,
so
and they're
it'll
doing
be
a split core.
winter, I assume, the
Okay.
second core will be. But I enjoyed this. Like, I enjoyed the manga, so I enjoyed the story. Like, the characters are great. I think the world build it's still early on, but it's deep. So apart from the animation, like, I kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
You know, the bad guys are, they're scary.
Yeah.
They're changing between male and female, which was interesting to see in a shonen battle manga.
Yeah,
that
totally.
lots of changes. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Look, I quite enjoyed it. Thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, definitely understand the criticism and feel it, because it was unfortunate. It could have been great. I mean, like, that's kind of frustrating. It's obviously a great story.
Yeah.
It's a great manga. But the adaptation was a bit iffy. All right, I'll talk about my favorite. And it's no surprise, anyone's been listening to the last couple of these sorts of things, everyone's going to know that my favorite's obviously Vinland Saga. It's not even close.
Never heard of
It's quite possibly in my top 5 of all time now. No, that's not possible. It is in my top 5 of all time.
You write the rules, Sam.
I can change them. Exquisite, absolutely extraordinary. One of the best character studies I've ever seen in anime. Incredible adaptation, which is something that Mappa did also, but obviously a lot of the money went into that instead of Hell's Paradise, and I'm happy for it. Yeah, look, I thought it was absolutely fantastic, beautiful, stunning, incredible, slow burn, a real onion peel, something which just kept getting better and better, and it ended brilliantly, and I just cannot recommend it highly enough. It's something which you can watch if you aren't an anime fan. It's something you can get a non-anime fan into. It is slower, and I've read a lot of people on the internet being like, it's where the Viking, why aren't they attacking? Where's the violence? And I was like, just you fucking idiots. This isn't for you. Okay? Some people, not there. For those of you who should be there, it's incredible and it's worth your time, and it's something different because it does change the tempo very heavily, and I just think those who did watch it and were along for the ride benefited greatly. But look, if you are a shonen battle anime fan and you want more Vikings caving in each other's skulls, it's, you know, it happens, but not till the end, and it's just very different. So, you know, I understand that some people couldn't get their heads around that. For me, it was a perfect change of pace, and I just think it's one of the better bits of art that I've seen in the last few years, full stop. Massive win. So, Charlie, while we're on this topic, what's your other favourite that you're going to scream about?
I really love my love story of Yamada-kun level 999.
So that kept going well. It didn't turn into a problematic mess?
Look, I mean, like I've talked about this, and what made me so excited about this show is that there was adults, and then it turns out that he is actually in high school.
Yes.
The age gap isn't that bad. It's like 18 or 19 and 20, like around there, and he's about to graduate. Seems like nothing really overt has happened between the two of them while he's still in high school, but it did, like, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched this, stop listening for 2 seconds, but like it does end on a confession from him to her. So it's like kind of getting romantic now. What I liked less about the romance, although I do actually quite like the way they explored it, because he's almost like, the way that he's positioned is you almost think he's not asexual but aromantic, or he's a bit like not super great at kind of conveying his emotions, and but he's actually super kind and just doesn't know kind of how he comes across. So he comes across quite blunt. I think they handled it really well. It was quite realistic how their relationship actually came about. And one of my favorite aspects of the show is it really explores that online space, and like it's really fun for gaming purposes because their guild, they all become friends. So like their guild, and they're kind of a ragtag group. So there's like the main guild guy, the person who runs a guild is like the character's avatar, their avatar is a like a little bunny girl who's like super cute and has heaps of fans, and it turns out it's just like this 20-year-old guy, and she meets up with him and she's like, oh, but he's this is a little bit like, but he bases his character off his little sister who he's like obsessed with in a non-sexual way, but in like still kind of like a, I hate this trope, but his little sister is also in the guild and she's a character. And then also there is this like older guy who's in the guild who's like my favorite character because he's just this like really wholesome old man who runs a strawberry farm. But it turns out like in the last episode you realize that he's like this really high flying CEO or like president, and they like who then retired to go like start a strawberry farm anyway, and they like go to this restaurant and everyone knows him, they're sending him all this food and everyone's like, what, like, are you rich? Anyway, he's just like really nice and not weird or creepy. Right. And I think it's showing the side of gaming where it's like you can in certain ways exist in the same space as people from different age brackets, that kind of thing. You can exist in the same fandom and not be problematic about it. Like I think it was cool to show that in this anime, because a lot of times, like, of course, the internet is a very dangerous place for a lot of people to be on, and I'm sure it isn't always wholesome, but sometimes it is. And I know a lot of people who have like met through World of Warcraft or become lifelong friends.
A few marriages in World of Warcraft in my time.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like people do meet and find connections, and so I think that this kind of showed. I remember, like, do you guys remember? This is such a deep cut. Do you know who Felicia Day is?
Yes, the redhead.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Nerd girl.
Yeah.
That was like her whole thing with the ages, and she had a web series called The Guild, and it was all about that's such a. I did that song. Do you want to date my avatar? But yeah, like it kind of reminded me a bit of that, like that kind of exploring, and they all kind of they're all from completely different walks of life, and yet they are connected through their like Friday night raids that they do together.
It's generally a fascinating topic to explore, you know. And I was reading an article a little while ago about interesting with male friendships as men age, men tend to lose friends much more prominently than women do, and there's a reason for this. Sort of men let their friendships atrophy quite quickly, whereas women tend to hold on to their relationships, friendship relationships quite a lot longer. And there's a reason for this, because one of the major things is that men tend to bond over activities, right? And of course, the older you get, the less you participate in activities. You're not in school, you're not playing in sports leagues anymore. You're not doing the kind of things that you did when you were in university and high school and whatnot, and even in your early 20s and whatnot. But interestingly, one of the things that does enable people to maintain friendships and also over great distances is, of course, online gaming, right? Because it is an activity. Come together. I mean, I have a lot of friends back in Perth who I only play online games with. It's the only interaction I have with them. Yes. Otherwise, I would not be really in contact with them at all. And it's quite a fascinating thing. And you're right, it is are really, look, don't get me wrong, can be toxic as fuck in certain games and whatnot. People telling you to fucking kill yourself and, all these horrible things and, a lot of racism and misogyny and whatnot, in the online gaming space, of course. But there is that wholesome side of things where you really can create and maintain friendships, even across the sea. You remember you were playing with mates back in Scotland and stuff.
Yeah, that's how I communicate with most of them these days. Because, no one's got time to like do a voice chat all the time.
Yeah.
People will be on the game at a certain time. So, yeah.
And I feel like Discord's made that way easier for everyone too.
Oh,
That's how most
massively.
people.
Massively.
But what I like about this show is that the game that they play, the MMORPG, the massively multiplayer online role-playing game. Oh! I finally said it right.
Insert fireworks.
Is quite a like low stakes game. They kind of make a point. It's called like Forest of Savior, and it's like very low stakes, kind of chill. And like Yamada as a character, he's a professional streamer and gamer, but for like a really like I guess like a Fortnite-esque like.
Right.
So
yeah.
he's like actually plays competitively in that, but obviously his like downtime is this like really wholesome, like we're gonna go like beat bosses and what like things, fall out, item collect, like guild chat, hang out, kind of more like I guess a World of Warcraft, but maybe even, somehow even more like more chill than that. I know that's not necessarily like wholesome, and that's why then the whole point of that is I think that they introduce people who are not that. It's like less strict gaming. So you've got him who is like a gamer, but like even Akane, the main character, is like not really a gamer. She's actually quite bad at gaming, but she just really enjoys it. So she's like me. I was like, fuck, this is so relatable because there's a point where they stress that like her sword that she has in the game is like weirdly rare because she's just doesn't know that she can trade items. So she's just max leveled this like starter sword. And I was like, that reminds me of me in Final Fantasy VII where I didn't know you could trade fucking cloud swords. So I had that buster sword for like most of the game. Yeah. And I was just like terrible at the game. And I was like, why is Cloud so weak? And everyone's like, have you not equipped him? And I was like, wait, what? And I was like, what's the material? Like literally no clue when I was younger. And now I'm an expert at that fucking game. But don't you worry.
What about that? You played the remake?
No. It's not turn-based. We've talked about this.
Yeah, I know.
I'm giving that up. Man. But so I really like this game because I think it speaks to me on heaps of levels. Mostly that, really, not heaps of levels.
Just one level.
On that level.
Me and my, professionally gaming boyfriend, which I don't have. No, I
so relatable.
So relatable. She's in college, so I'm same. No. I do think that in general, though, it's a really wholesome, good show. And even though he's in high school, so annoying. I hate that.
It is.
Just make him in fucking college.
Yeah,
anyway,
right.
other than that, I think that Madhouse are not fucking around with their animation. There are some scenes that are so gorgeous. Like her hair, they animate the shit out of her hair. Like because you see it from his like gaze a lot of the time, and it's not sleazy. It's not a sleazy one. It's like quite romantic. So like any kind of like moment he'll notice that she wants to take her hair down, and they like just went to town on this like amazing hair shot, and I was like, fuck yeah, like
it's Madhouse, is it?
And on top of that, like really great soundtrack. I always have one of the songs stuck in my head. It isn't the OP of the season. It's pretty. Actually, I don't like the OP that much. It's all right, but the OP of the season is, of course,
all right, bring it on.
Oshi no Ko.
Yes,
where that is a certified banger.
It's got like tens of millions of views on YouTube.
It is
like
broken
huge
records. Yeah. I think it's like topping charts.
I don't think I've heard it.
Oh, it's amazing.
Oh, you got to listen to it. It is so good.
I'll do it in the car on the way home.
It's incredible. Yeah,
I love it.
Right.
It's really good.
Right, okay.
Now this show we talked about the first episode that we did when we were talking about Hype Up. I famously, I mean whoever listened to it the first time, famously I skipped it because I was creeped out by the synopsis, like fully creeped out by it, and was like, oh, that sounds like something I never want to even watch in my life. And then after the episode came out and the first episode aired, everyone. It broke the internet. Everyone was obsessed with it. Everyone was like, it's the best thing I've seen. So I went, well, shit, I better watch it. Take one for the team. I'm going to watch this weird-ass show. Watched it and was like, okay, like, yes, a bit of icky stuff, which we talked about, but it's a really amazing, particularly pilot episode, and it's really, really well done. And I hate to admit it, but it got me. The show got me, and
really?
now I'm in.
You're a fan.
I haven't quite finished it yet. I'm quite behind. I was actually like hoping to marathon it because it's one of those ones. It's a show you're never quite sure what you're watching, which I kind of like about it. Like at the start, you're like, is this some weird incarnation kind of like, just a weird sort of isekai kind of, I guess, reincarnation, goofy one, or is it like you know, a murder mystery, or is it a psychological and like serious look at a real world problem of like the pressures on idols and celebrity culture in Japan right now for young people? Like, is it that, or is it this weird, like, so you just don't really know what you're watching at any point in time. And it makes for quite an unsettling watch, which I like. I think it's good. I think it's really good. And just the little things, like I think we were saying like this is the one, in case you are not familiar with it, it is a story about a idol called Ai who is very charismatic, super talented, about 16, but she gets pregnant and in secret she gives birth to twins. But while this is all happening, basically the doctor that's like, anyway, 2 fans of hers end up reincarnated as her babies. And yeah. And then they grow up like, but then basically she ends up getting, this is a full spoiler, please, I urge you to watch the pilot because what I'm going to say next will ruin the whole thing for you. And it's something that's better to go in blind.
Skip forward from now for about a minute.
Yeah. She's murdered and we don't know who by. We assume she's murdered by the same person that one of the babies who've been reincarnated was murdered by. And then time skip happens and where suddenly the twins are in high school and the main character, Aqua, has dedicated his life to trying to find out his mother's killer. And also it's a secret that his mother is his mother. Like they kept that a secret. So people think that the agency that she belonged to, they think that the manager of that was her mother because obviously they've kept that one a secret. It's really good because Aqua also is becoming an actor. So a lot of the stuff, like as someone who used to do acting and who was interested in the industry, I actually find it really cool to see how they talk through him filming scenes and his kind of like mentality towards acting. I find it quite interesting. I was like, good point. Maybe I should have done that. Maybe I would have been super successful. Could have got some advice from this anime. Actually, there's a couple of acting animes that are really good. There's one called, God, this is showing my freaking age right now. There's one called Skip Beat, which is really funny, about a girl who, sorry, this is so off topic, but whatever. Acting at it, we should do showbiz anime.
We should do a showbiz anime.
I don't want to do idol. This also doubles as an idol anime because the other main character, it's a dual protagonist situation. She's trying to become an idol, his twin sister. So that's a part of it as well. I'm not really big on idol anime. I don't really like idol anime. No. And like you can call me, there's one where they're like zombies apparently. Oh yeah. I could watch that one. That sounds interesting. But I'm more interested in zombies than I am idols, I think is what I got from that. I know
the one you're talking about. Yeah.
But yeah, Skip Beat and also a really famous old school anime called The Glass Mask, I think it's called. And they're about like acting in a really earnest way, which is actually quite good. I like it a lot. Where it treats acting like a sports shonen vibe. It's like
Zombieland Saga is what
Zombieland Saga, yes. Yeah. So that sounds fun. Anyway, Oshinoko, obviously people have absolutely adored it. People are obsessed with it. I don't think I'm quite the right audience for it, but it has intrigued me enough and I think that it's really well done. It's got some of the best animation of the season. The eyes, the pacing, the music. So it is worth a watch if you can get past a bit of a weird premise at the start. But it doesn't stay there for long. But all I'm saying is like only if you feel comfortable doing that. And if you don't feel comfortable doing that, that's completely fair enough.
Interesting. Yeah, well, it's been at the top of the Reddit charts and Anime Corner charts and whatnot. Everyone's been absolutely frothing on it. Yeah, I actually still didn't do it. I just didn't get around to it because I was like, I don't need this. But
I'm gonna have to listen to this opening though.
That I have done many times. It's a fucking banger.
Because mine was the Hell's Paradise opening. It
was pretty good.
Pretty good. Same as Chainsaw Man. Same guy.
And he's like the biggest pop star in Japan.
Oh right.
Yeah, he's huge.
Don't know.
Huge.
Enjoyed that, but this I have to list this. This might take it.
Yeah, it's like broken. I think it's the most successful anime OP of all time in terms of streaming, in terms of like out of control. Like it's number one on charts in America and shit like that.
Yeah, it's a bang.
There's like a big it's a bit like I was playing it to my partner and they were like, it sounds like it's almost like Grimes did this song. Like it's really like there's like an orchestra at one point and you're like, what?
It's
I thought it was maybe like Lisa from Demon Slayer, but that might be just because it's on my list on repeat. She's in the new Spider-Man movie. She did a track for the soundtrack.
Did she?
Isn't it across the Spider-Verse?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
No. I'm about to go see that, but I just rewatched. I had a very hungover day on Saturday, and we watched it. I'd watched it since it came out, and watched it with Grace, and we were just like, this movie fucking slaps.
So good.
Dude, Into the Spider-Verse is, I know it's not anime, but my God, it is an incredible movie. And Across the Spider-Verse, apparently even better. I'm going to go see it probably this week.
I got to go to the premiere.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah.
And honestly, I won a competition.
You and your competition. Okay. The amount of fucking bullshit competitions this person enters. Like, we got this thing in the.
Well, did you go to the premiere of Into the Spider-Verse? I don't think so.
Well, you've got me there. You've got me there. But what you don't have me in is
dishwasher or whatever.
All of us got this, like, all of us get this dishwasher. All of us get this, like, tag gate with anime. We're like, the fuck is this? It's like,
I saw it,
tag 5 of your friends and, like, repost this.
Well,
Charlie's account has been hacked again.
No. I just like unashamedly post on my like private account. People are just like, how many giveaways do you enter? I was like, a lot. Like, how many have you won? I'm like, 1. And it was sick.
Great. What else did you enjoy? What do you think about Demon Slayer? We've got to talk about that. A lot of controversy around that.
What was the controversy though?
People just thought, well, look, I
mean,
will
it
say,
did what Demon Slayer does Demon do.
Yeah.
Like,
don't do what Demon does.
Like, demons show up, Tanjiro gets the shit kicked out of him for like 20 episodes, then he overpowers them and
Hashira turns up and does
don't forget that the environment around them gets destroyed. Like, there's always like the town is
town
completely
wasted.
a sad backstory of the demon, yes.
But like, you know, it's not the most exciting arc.
No.
But you get introduced like to the Harasha, you get to Tobiko, Mr. Harasha.
Yeah, Mr. Hashira, yes.
I can't remember the
Tokito. It was a badly handled arc in the manga as well, I must say. And
the most interesting.
yeah, it's just a bit, and also just a bit quick. Also, there were pacing issues. There were directing issues. There were a lot of people were a bit upset about the CGI in this season. It was more pronounced than
some
it's
of the
ever
best
been.
monster fish CGI I've ever seen.
Yeah, people were hating that. I thought the monster fish were pretty. I thought they were fine.
You know, is it as bad as the Mugen Train with the blob thing? No.
Oh yeah, true. And that
sucked.
was rad, but like, no one cared. You've got to forgive it sometimes, people. You know. Anyway, I enjoyed it. What do you guys think of it?
Look, I'll forgive a formulaic shonen any day of the week, just for feels like a hit of the good stuff. You're like, oh, here we are again. Give me some trashy, like, not trashy. Sorry, not trashy. Trashy.
Basic.
Basic. It's what we like anime for. It's why we keep watching it, because we love those, tried and tested tropes. It just felt like this one was not as interesting or as like hype as the rest. I just didn't really care enough about anyone except for the hot sword banker.
Oh.
When he revealed his mask and he was hot.
Oh, he was pretty hot.
He was so hot. I was like,
as well. Yeah,
it's the best moment of the whole series to date.
Yeah, we didn't get an episode 10 or an episode 19 from the previous series.
We've had that so many times. Like, there's only so many things you can push it up.
I suppose so. And also, I mean, Mugen Train as well was extraordinary. But I guess also, I don't think either of the Hashira in this season, like Kanroji as well, and Tokito, are as compelling as Rengoku and Uzui. I think they're both much more compelling characters. And
I like her.
She was good,
she's fine.
Like,
but she's fine.
Yeah.
Like,
They just didn't give her enough to do.
no, she just rocks up at the end. And
her scene when she's fighting like the serpents.
That was sick.
She's
Yeah,
whipping
she
in
was
between them.
sick.
I was like,
yeah, she was cool.
No, she was so.
But didn't get
I have
enough airtime,
time
that's
for
what I mean.
her.
yeah.
She
But
wasn't
we
like the
didn't
main
build.
Hashira though.
No,
that season.
it was Tokito. Whereas like Uzui, we were with from the start, and like he actually started off kind of a bit shit, and then became awesome. Like throughout the whole, he actually had a journey. Whereas like they gave Tokito a big journey, but it was kind of still felt a bit like. It's like, oh yeah, I mean, he had a sad backstory, as they all fucking do.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it still was a bit like,
Well, he had that formulaic thing though, where he like remembers literally,
Yes.
which is what the demons,
trauma,
which is what the demons usually have in Demon Slayer. They kind
Yes,
of like,
yes,
so they
yes.
just kind of gave that whole trope
to him.
narrative
Well, that's
to him
because-
instead. So we were like, ooh, something fresh. It's now the Hashira who's remembering their trauma.
That's because
Yes.
the demon didn't get that flashback in this.
True.
Like the pot guy, normally the thing is he gets cut up and then you see the
Flashback,
tragic backstory. They didn't give him that. He just
No, just cut him to shreds.
Honestly, I was trying to
straight, and I was
hear
like,
that
yeah, awesome.
guy didn't care about his back. That guy remembered
that guy
his
sucked.
past. You know what I mean? The pot guy remembered
just
his
sucked.
past and just was happy being evil, I reckon.
Yeah, he was just trash.
That's the vibe I got from him.
But yeah, look, Demon Slayer does what Demon, as you say,
yeah,
Demon
it's
Slayer do what Demon Slayer does, and it was, it's fine. It's fun. It's always
Sword
fun.
arc's not the best.
Next
Training
one
arc
was-
is also a bit dull, but then you're into the Infinity Castle.
That's
and
when
then
shit gets real.
Yeah.
That's if they animate that well, that's going to break the
Oh,
internet.
they're going to stretch it out to 15 movies. They're going to Attack on Titan the shit out of this.
True.
We'll be watching this for the next 10 years.
Yeah, pretty much.
So-
Special.
But yeah,
Especially
look,
if they take the
it
time.
did what it had to do. It was flashy. The animation was good. There was, some cool moments. performance.
Yeah, 100%.
Tanjiro cried for like 90 minutes in that extended episode, though.
Loves a good cry, doesn't he?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I read a think piece about Tanjiro actually about how he's like one of the last remaining like actually kind protagonists in these things, and
He's a
like it's
Jesus
kind of
character.
interesting to see it unfold.
That's true.
Like he's even nicer than Naruto was, and Ichigo,
100%.
and all of those. Like he's more. Like, I mean, Luffy's not nice either.
No, Luffy's a dickhead.
yeah, like he's actually one of the few nice.
That's true.
Protagonist.
He's very, very pure, very golden-hearted. Yeah, absolutely.
Which is an interesting choice to make, I think, because I think people really. There's this whole thing, you know, narratively speaking, everyone's like, how good is an anti-hero? Like, he's a, like, morally grey area. It's kind of nice to see it go back to just like, he's a good kid.
Yeah.
He's
a nice guy.
I kind of, I'm sort of here for it. I was like, is this like breaking boundaries somehow by not at all?
Yeah, I mean,
like,
honestly,
I don't know.
it's fair because I mean, like we've been through the Tony Sopranos and your Walter Whites and all these anti-hero, Don Drapers.
He's such a nice kid.
But Tanjiro he's also not like he's not a pushover either. You know what I mean? Like he's very like staunch in his beliefs.
Yeah.
And, for example, when Akaza kills Rengoku and he's like freaking out, it's like you didn't win,
you
know,
up,
like you're a fucking coward and all this sort of stuff. It's like and you're like, yeah, okay, he's not like a total.
No.
Like pushover. So it's an interesting character.
I think that in Hunter x Hunter, you think Gon's going to be like that, and then he's not.
He goes psycho. Yeah.
Gon is really selfish. And like it's kind of, as Tanjiro's actually not selfish.
No.
As it turns out.
Not at all.
So I don't know. I find it quite weirdly refreshing.
It's an interesting topic actually. It's something definitely to unpack because also he's kind of harder. He's not as simple as you think he is either. Like there is a little bit more complexity to him than you first think. And I mean, he is overtly kind-hearted, but I do think there is a little bit more there. I don't know. It's very.
I forgot about Deku. Deku's also like that. from
Deku
My Hero
is
Academia.
but he he goes through a little bit of a bad arc when he goes off as a vigilante. But again, it's all very much like I don't want to put my friends in danger. It's all that very Nakama stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah. But Deku is close for sure. Now I guess we should just fire through some of the others thoughts and feelings that we had. I mean, I'll talk Dr. Stone. I really enjoyed. Dr. Stone again does what it does. It's like it's a bit of fun. As I said last time, it's like it's either the dumbest smart show or the smartest dumb show I've ever seen. It's kind of dumb and smart at once, but it's just a bit of fun. Really, it's like science and kind of Stone Age. It's interesting, and I quite enjoy
Are they
it.
in space?
No, his dad was.
I saw a clip and I was like, wait a minute, how did he get to space so quickly? Like,
They were the only people who didn't get petrified when the time happened. So they were in the International Space Station.
yeah, right, okay.
And they came
That's
back
what
down,
it was.
and they left.
But they were
all
making like a rocket out of sap.
the moss.
The moss rocket.
He does dumb shit like that. I mean, apparently the science is pretty much all actually like reality. Like you can actually do all the stuff they do is apparently legit. But yeah, it's fun.
Somewhere out there in the world, Neil deGrasse Tyson is just rolling his
Rolling.
eyes. He's writing a tweet like,
I mean, one of the characters does disappear into a watermelon and roll around. Look, okay, it does some dumb
Scientifically
shit.
accurate.
Science. Don't question it, dude. It's all legit. So,
Do you want to talk about Heavenly Delusion?
yes, I do actually.
Yes.
Now, speaking of which, interesting show. So we did mention it before. I had that kind of post-apocalyptic Last of Us sort of meets Attack on Titan. There's a whole group of people behind these walls when it's this very kind of Promised Neverland kind of vibe in this place. And then you got the two characters traveling kind of through the road, Cormac McCarthy type, a Wolverine-ish, as in the Wolverine kind of thing, traveling through a post-apocalyptic world. Two people, one looking after the other, trying to get them through, all that kind of stuff. And honestly, I thought it was really cool. Like, I came to it late because I hadn't actually watched it.
Yeah.
And I just had a night where I was like, I've got some time. And I smashed like 7 or 8 episodes in one night. And it's interesting. It's hoping there's a second season. It's quite dark. It's quite dark. And also interesting as well, there was almost, it's interesting you mentioned before in Skip to Loafer with the trans character. Was it Skip to Loafer or was it Yamada with this trans character? Skip to Loafer. So I thought we were getting that in this. Almost. This is a spoiler, so once again, if you don't want to get spoiled, skip forward 30 to 45 seconds now. But basically, the lead character is two characters traveling together, get to this point, and he's like, oh, guy and a girl. It's like, I love you. And he's like, well, hold on, no, I'm a boy, the girl says. And it's like, whoa, it's a whole thing. I was like, wow, trans character. How interesting. Just identifies as a boy. How cool.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not the case. Or not unfortunately, but just like not the case. It's actually more of a body swap thing that happens. So I was like, it's still an interesting concept to explore, and I think it's handled quite interestingly. And they still have a very interesting relationship, those two, despite the fact that, like, I mean, technically it is same sex, but it's also not. It's
Yeah,
kind of an interesting relationship those two have, and I thought it's just a very different show. Still familiar in many ways. As I said, all the shows I just mentioned before, it's evocative of, and even in Western, Last of Us kind of stuff. Yeah, but it's really good. I quite enjoy it. To me, it's actually the sleeper. There was a real sleeper hit of this season, actually. Heavenly Delusion. Hard to find because it's actually called like Daimyo Dentoku or something. That's the only way you can search for it on Disney Plus. Which is kind of annoying because I kept being like, Heavenly Delusion. Like, where the fuck is this thing? But eventually found it by searching his Japanese name. So, yeah, definitely a nice tick from me.
Yeah.
You know what was a failure for me? Dead Mount Deathblade. I got it wrong, people. Look, and as we said in our new system where we just do our little hype ups of like going through Mal, like, well, this sounds interesting. As I just missed the ecchi tag. Just it was right there. Missed it. Didn't look, disaster. So that was shit. Awful.
Insomniacs After Dark, I haven't finished. I have heard from some people, and I agree, it was somewhat anxiety-inducing if you do have insomnia, like I do. So it's kind of like you feel sort of a little bit unsettled by the plight. Like it's relatable, but it was really beautiful what I did watch. So now it's reminded me I need to go back and really finish that one.
There you go.
Another one that I didn't watch was called The Dangers in My Heart, and I didn't like the concept, so I didn't watch it. I'll give the synopsis now. Kyotaru Ichikawa may look like a shy and reserved middle school student, but deep within his heart is a bloodthirsty killer. His ultimate desire is to see his classmate, Anna Yamada's beautiful face writhing in pain before he ends her life. But this fantasy may never come to fruition as Ishikawa starts to see an entirely different side to Yamada.
Well, I fucking hope so.
Yes, that's the thing. Often seeking refuge in the library, Ichikawa frequently runs into Yamada. It is during these encounters that Ichikawa realizes his model classmate is actually an airhead who could never read the room. As they spend more time together, the boy cannot help but feel not only a sense of endearment towards the very girl he wishes to murder, but also a desire to protect her at all costs. Is it possible that this sudden change in Ichikawa's perspective could lead to something more? So I read that and went,
you had every right to read that and put that in the fucking bin.
I went, oh, cool, I'm so going to read about like an incel protagonist that wants to murder a classmate because he feels a sexual attraction towards her. Like, that's what I'm getting from the synopsis. Cooked. But apparently it's kind of played like he's middle school, so he's quite young, and so doesn't understand anything. He's got this kind of like, apparently he's sort of, the way they kind of play his like bloodthirsty killerness is like very, like he's not actually ever going to do that. It's like a very kind of cartoonish, weird kind of way to do it. People really like it. I would personally avoid that one like the plague, so I did. And we're talking about it just because I was like, this is other rom-com that people were like talking about getting, because I remember there's like a lot of people talking about how we get our like, sweet, like wholesome fix, and for some reason this one came up in the mix of that. So I mean, hey, I've seen weirder things work out,
That's true.
But I haven't watched it, so I can't comment, but all I say is that synopsis gave me the ick.
I didn't actually end up watching the Rank of Kings OVA. It was like it was an anime original. I don't think anyone did. It seemed like one of those things that just no one talked about. Came and went. Didn't watch it. It's got nothing. It's not canon. So
okay.
Yeah.
People are loving the Black Clover film. I haven't seen it yet.
People are loving the Black Clover film. That's true. I need
to get onto that because I've been missing my little magic friends.
Magic boys?
My magic friends with their little grimoires.
Little magic fellas running around.
Yeah.
I mean,
Bimbly bimbly.
that is literally a synopsis. That is a pretty accurate synopsis of Black Clover.
Speaking of magic, Mashal, pretty average.
Dropped it.
Yeah, I dropped it too. I got like eight episodes in, which is surprisingly far.
Yeah.
And again, it was really well rated. When I was in Japan in March, it was everywhere.
Did you go to Japan?
In case you guys weren't aware, gone back as well, already booked tickets. But basically, it's
God, it'll never end.
it won't. But yeah, basically, it's it was huge. It was huge, but I thought it was pretty average. Wasn't funny enough.
Read the manga. If you got time, read the manga. Manga's
fun. You enjoy the manga much more, right?
Manga hits. Humor comes a lot clearer than the anime.
Yeah, I found it a bit average.
Yeah, read the manga.
I dropped why Raylena ended up at the Duke's mansion. Mostly because I read the webcomic. This is going to sound really basic. But because the webcomics are coloured and they're like scrolling on your phone, I feel like I already had seen it. Like I was kind of like, it's just sort of like a less good, because the art's never going to be as good as the original. I mean, they didn't have much of a budget, so I think a lot of people were a bit upset by the art. But honestly, it's a good story. I recommend if you like that kind of isekai, travel back in time, fix it, otome kind of style. I would recommend it. If you don't want to read it, read the webcomic if you want to, but I'm a big webtoon gal. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some of those other ones adapted.
Webtoon girl. Away.
Hey. I'm looking forward to seeing some of those adapted later too. I just hope they get a bigger budget.
Well, that's basically it for that's his spring season, and covered a lot. Has been a pretty solid season, actually. I've got some real heavy hitters. And some
real surprise for me. Like, I have responded to this again, like not shocking, but I was surprised that there's so many that I kept up with weekly. Really rare for me.
And now we're going to go through our little summer hype up. Now, it's early days, hasn't even begun at the time of recording this podcast. So we're really, really, really on the, we're drawing some long bows, basically. We're not quite sure. Some of these are big, heavy hitters, a lot of second seasons, or third and fourth and fifth seasons.
Like mostly sequels.
Yes. It's a big sequel season. So we should be able to go through this relatively quickly. But again, this is just the vibe. Just the vibes, man. We're just going off vibes at this point because we haven't seen any of it, and none of it. No one has because it hasn't aired. So just going to hit out what we're excited about, what the community is talking about as per usual. And of course, starting off is the big heavy-hitting return of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. Very, very exciting. Unbelievable how excited I am, actually.
All right.
I loved it.
Pretty
You know,
hyped.
you always going about this, like, you know, with the Dark Trio, but like for me, Jujutsu Kaisen's so far above the others, it's not even close.
Yeah, right.
Honestly, it's like they're not even in the same stratosphere for me. And that being said, they have changed animation directors this time. So if you might have noticed with the trailer, the eyes are different. Gojo's eyes,
Yeah,
they
the
don't
eyes
pop
are
quite as much, do they?
muted.
Different guy.
Dulled.
So yeah, there's a lot of talk about that, of course. Because
I kind of like the style though. Like it's
style almost is cooler, but the eyes, you know, like a lot of them Gojo simps aren't happy. Charlotte.
You know what it is? It's because he wears sunglasses in this season.
True.
So the animation budget would be fucking massive if they gave him those eyes.
Just
Like
constant eyes.
Yeah, look, they, the eyes were too good to be true for that long.
That's true.
We can't be fed that well.
yeah,
No.
they need to come out when shit gets down and
Yes.
serious things happen. You pop the eyes. You're like, oh, well, this is a prequel.
Yes, tell us
Flashback.
about this, Squaram, because obviously you've read
It
it.
goes back to Gojo and his time as an actual student rather than a teacher.
Oh,
And
so his eyes weren't ready.
his eyes weren't matured.
Is that the justification? No.
He definitely isn't as. He's not as powerful as when you see him when he's
Of course,
as a
yeah.
teacher. Like
His peak. Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff he still has to learn. His abilities haven't really clicked into place. So he's still ungodly powerful and his cocky as all hell. But he's learning.
Interesting.
And it's more about his friendship with
Gito.
yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the shit.
He's such a good character. Like,
Yeah,
and he's
a lot
so
of people
cool.
love Gito.
Like he's the two of them together, it's gonna be magical.
Yeah. So you're excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course I am. Like
And then there should be your arc afterwards.
Yeah, that'll be
It's a double core, so it will go back to
Does
back.
it lead into that?
Yeah, it will, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You're gonna get some like deep world lore on this one as well,
Right.
which is a bit shit.
Okay.
But Gojo should pull it all through.
Yeah, true. It's enough Gojo.
So-
We're all fine.
It's just going to be good fun, like good,
That's right.
jolly good time.
Good fun.
Awesome. Yeah.
Good Jujutsu.
Funny. Jujutsu Kaisen's
fun.
funny.
It's great.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Charlie, what else are you excited about this season?
All right, so I'm excited about one that I've been reading up on. That again, like, gonna just make everyone roll their eyes with me just coming at being like, yeah, adults in a romance. It looks like they are actually both adults, so
Hey!
which is good because
No, like,
yeah,
To reincarnated.
yeah. As babies.
I mean, maybe she's not actually reading the synopsis,
Jesus.
but we'll see.
Come
It's
on,
called
Japan.
My Happy Marriage, and it's based off a light novel. And yeah, I will give you the synopsis. Mio Saimori was the unfortunate child of a loveless arranged marriage. After her mother died, her father brought in his lover and her own daughter, Kaya. From then on, Mio's life was reduced to that of a mere servant. So basically, that's Cinderella. Even worse, while Kaya inherited a family's psychic abilities, Mio had none. She was truly the daughter with no merit. After years of being treated like dirt, Mio has learned to keep her head down, hide her pain, and obey every order. So it comes as no surprise that she is arranged to be married to Kyoka Kudo, a military captain rumored to be so cruel that he has driven away every one of his potential wives so far. From a painful upbringing to a painful marriage, that's the future that awaits Mio. Or so she thinks. Contrary to her expectations, her new husband is actually kind-hearted. What really awaits Mio is a blissful, everlasting marriage full of happiness. So obviously really problematic. There's arranged marriages.
Bait and switch.
All that stuff. But apparently it turns out to be healthy. So
yes.
So
yes.
I
Healthy
mean,
arranged marriage.
look, this sounds like a Cinderella-esque, like kind of supernatural, old school, as in like historical romance. It's meant to be a pretty good light novel. People are fans of it, and I think that I just hope to see an actual depiction of a healthy marriage in anime. But I mean, did it start healthily? No, it was arranged, and that's not so good. But hey, we'll take what we can at this point. So I think that I'll wait to see how this one goes. This one I could really eat my words.
Yeah, there might be a Dead
and
Mount Death play on
So
this
we've got
one.
a Cinema Citrus is the studio
Yes.
who have done Made in Abyss,
Yes, Camina Citrus.
Black Bullet. Oh, Kinema, sorry, yeah. Codebreaker. Oh, this is pretty cool. Yeah, there you go. So
right.
Cool.
Norn 9.
Yep, Kevin Penkin both.
Yeah. I wonder if he's probably not on
Don't think
My
so.
Happy Marriage, which is a shame. But I think that, yeah, look, it could be terrible, but I just was like, you know what? I'm keen. It's like Shoujo Sai.
Yeah, nice.
I'm just happy to support anything that's being adapted for older female readers at this point.
Now, Gray, of course, we have Bleach, part 2.
Yeah, we're talking about Jujutsu Kaisen, but is Bleach a bigger? Especially after the last, was it a core? Was it a season? Is this a new season, new core?
I think this is the second part, I think. But yeah, it's
You want to take something that blew away everyone's expectations.
that was amazing.
That was phenomenal.
I loved the Bleach remake.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a remake, but the re-pickup of
I
yeah,
don't know what you
the
call it.
finishing of but a complete artistic
Yeah.
revamp. It was fucking amazing. Yeah, how did you find? You loved it, right?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
And it was just at the tail end of me finishing the manga.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm trying to read all of the big 3,
That's right. How far are you into One Piece right now?
350 chapters.
Not bad.
It's only 700 to go. So it just hit the right moment. The adaptation was great. The animation was great.
Yeah.
It was a surprise to everyone.
It was amazing. Like, yeah,
So-
the Yamamoto, Bunkai, Zen no Tachi, they did it right. It was amazing.
Kimpachi,
Yes.
Like-
Unohana.
ridiculous.
Classic. Absolutely brilliant. Loved it.
So yeah, hopefully they can maintain
Yes.
pace.
Yep.
You're going to get a lot of more sort of square offs, a lot of battles,
A lot of battles.
So I think it's going to be great.
I
Will
agree.
it be the best anime of this season?
Oh, he's calling it now. I like it.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Based off the last one, it could be.
No, it could be amazing. It was a big hit for me last time, so it's very, very exciting.
I think it's because it was just so surprising.
Yeah,
Like,
like
how
Bleach is
how
back.
good
Like,
it was, and like how much effort went into it. And so
it was next level. I loved it.
I just hope they can keep that ball in the air, though, and it's
Me
just
too.
not mediocre. And then they'll not make the end of it.
Yeah.
Have to wait another 20 years.
Fingers crossed. Anything else you got for us, Charlie? Any fucking weird shit? Or
Well, something
Mr.
not
Darcy,
so
the
weird.
anime.
So we've got we've got Horimiya Peace, which is Horimiya is a slice of life romance high school anime that came out a couple of seasons ago based on a really popular manga. This is just an adaptation of stories that were left out of the main story because Horimiya adaptation did the whole story. My biggest gripe with that season was it was rushed and they cut too much stuff. So I guess that they've kind of listened to that from fans and they're gonna animate what they left out basically. So I might give it a go. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's gonna hold enough for me, but I'll definitely watch the first episode. Another classic coming to our screens. If you enjoy insufferable male main characters who can't make any decisions, then you are gonna love
Bleach.
Bleach. And Eddie Shonen.
Watch Bleach, kids.
and come for you on that one, but it's bang on the money because it's true.
So what has a lot of common with Ichigo is the protagonist of Rent a Girlfriend
here it
season
is.
3.
Bam, 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 bam.
Woo! So Rent a Girlfriend. I did not watch the second season, but I'm sure I could probably just jump right in, and I'm sure
Pick up right where it left off.
really change there. Season 1, I didn't mind, and I remember I think I watched it so I could talk about it on the podcast, and I remember keeping up with it secretly. I was like,
They must never know.
because I was interested in maybe it was like accurate or like maybe, and also they're all in college, so they're in college.
Yeah.
I also was like, oh, maybe this is a healthy depiction of sex work and maybe progressive. not sure it quite got there. But I mean, hey, I think that there were some aspects of it. Like, you never really judge the main female protagonist for working as a renter girlfriend. That's not really the issue there. It's more that the main guy somehow ends up in some weird harem situation despite being the most average,
classic,
like, gross guy ever. So that's reality, truly. So really it's a documentary at this point.
Average men failing up. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I know people really love to watch and hate read Rent-A-Girlfriend because I know that particularly that character just makes some terrible decisions. And I think if you're into like shipping wars, if anyone knows what that is, it's when you ship your characters with this person and there's like other rival ships and like everyone gets really mad at each other because like best girl should have won. God, I hate
Gen Z thing,
when
yeah.
I say this. No, it's not. Shipping wars. That is millennial as it gets.
You reckon?
Anyway, it's a hate watch, guilty pleasure. I probably won't watch it, but maybe I will.
Graham, what have you got? Anything else interesting on the horizon?
Yeah, Zom 100 comes out.
Is it second season?
No, first season.
First season, okay.
First season. I think I'm pretty much up to date with the manga.
Right.
So, and if you're a part of our Discord, I write a very lovely review about it in the manga section.
This is true.
Join now. It's basically a youngster who gets a job as a salaryman, who's, full of piss and vinegar, wants to help the company, and then just slowly gets ground down by the workload and his colleagues and that sort of stuff. Doesn't want to go to work, hates his life, depressed. But then one day the zombie apocalypse happens and he gets the day off work. And it's the best thing ever. Like, literally, everyone else is freaking out, like, panic and mayhem. And he's just like, I'm going to have a cold beer and watch TV. And he does. And he's like, oh, shit, I need to get a better TV. And he does.
All amongst the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah. And then, but slowly he comes to realize that, this is kind of a bit of a waste of his freedom and his life. So he makes a list. And it's about him taking off things off his list. Some of them are like, ride a motorcycle. But then another ones is like, discover a species of dinosaur that's never been discovered. And, it's about him traveling around Japan with the crew he meets, ticking off things off his list. It's very charming. It's also set against the zombie apocalypse. So there's like
a real subversion of the zombie
horror.
apocalypse. Yeah.
But then it's him fighting a shark in like a suit made of Teflon at one point. Like, so it should be funny. It should be wholesome. And a little bit gory and horror vibe to it as well. So.
Yeah, that sounds sick.
That actually sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's a good read. Hopefully it translates. Again, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, that actually sounds really fun.
Yeah, I would check out Zom 100.
Zom 100 for you all people. I've got a weird one again. This could come back to bite me, but this one is called AI no Idenshi, and it's by Madhouse as the animation studio, but this science fiction omnibus depicting a doctor who treats robot and humanoid problems takes place in the near future when humanoids with artificial intelligence account for 10% of the population. The main character, Dr. Sudo Hikaru, also has an undercover name, Mogadit, under which he secretly takes on illegal medical procedures. Okay, problems already. For example, for a man who inadvertently infected his humanoid wife with a computer virus when illegally backing up her data, Sudo proposes an operation to rewrite her memory using backup data. Could an existence replaced by backup data truly be said to be the same as it was before? That's a synopsis on Mal. That could be fucking weird as hell, or it could be quite interesting. It could be the whole nature of existence and, like the thought experiment of if you are to be broken down into many particles and then teleported to another planet or whatever, is the new version of you, which is made up of new particles, still you? Exactly right. Prestige concept. Classic stuff like that could be very interesting. The nature of what it means to be human. I hope it goes down that road and doesn't get some weird sex shit.
It's going to be weird sex robot shit. You know it is.
Why can't it be both? Why can't it be both?
That's true.
That's what we people really want.
That's what the people really want. Hey, look, if it combines it both, we've got the best show of all time. I don't know. Just saying, I put it out there. So that's another one. Anything else from you, Charles?
Okay, I just found a synopsis that makes me so excited. Wow, this is going to be great. This one is called Am I Actually the Strongest? After being a shut-in, Haruto is reincarnated as a baby.
Yeah, of course he
and
is.
Basically, that baby is a prince. However, he's abandoned in a forest on the day he's born because of his low magic level. What will be the fate of Haruto, who is inadvertently given 1,000 times the normal amount of magic by a goddess of reincarnation without anyone noticing? Okay, so this is one of 2 baby reincarnation shows this season.
Only 2?
And
What the hell is going on?
In this is actually secretly like a psychological murder mystery deconstruction of the entertainment industry. I don't want to see any more fucking baby reincarnation shit. I don't want to see it ever again. Why is this a thing? Why?
You got to ask Japan that question.
This is the new trope, is
It's a
baby
whole
reincarnation. And I don't know how we got here. And quite frankly, I never want to know or see it again. So I am respectfully asking, am I the strongest to leave me alone?
Yeah.
But I will watch an episode because now I've talked about it and I might need to eat my words because the last time I avoided a baby reincarnation story, I accidentally missed the anime of the season. Classic. But speaking of anime reincarnation, we have got the sequel of another problematic anime that everyone's obsessed with, which is Mushoku Tensei.
Yes, that was a good segue,
That was
Charlie.
also a baby reincarnation, right?
That is correct.
But it was also critically acclaimed. So maybe they're on. Look Who's Talking was onto something. Critically acclaimed. Absolutely.
The 1980s had something
beautiful.
Right. It's
I won't accept it unless the voice is by Bruce Willis.
Otherwise, I won't.
Roseanne Barr? No.
Maybe.
Tom
Was he
Selleck?
O'Donnell? You have a sister? I make that up.
Yeah, and the second one, Look Who's Talking Now.
Yeah, look, you're talking now. There were two of them. Mushoku Tensei, of course.
It's gonna look amazing.
Yeah. So this is the thing.
Regardless, but
Apparently the world build is stunning. The magic system's great.
yeah.
Like, it's one of those ones where you just wish that they had done a bit of tailoring to certain character aspects.
Yeah. It's bad.
And
It's
certain scenes.
Yeah, we've talked about this in the past. Obviously, I gave it a massive I watched the first 3 episodes of the first season because everyone was fucking talking about it. And I just remember being like, what the fuck is wrong with everyone? This is terrible. This is horrible. There's, the lead character is basically irredeemable in so many ways. And I get part of the story, I suppose, is a story of redemption and people should be redeemable. But I don't know. I just found it to be far too disturbing and off-putting, and he does really fucking horrible things, and I found it to be very confronting, frankly, and I have no time for it. So, but funnily enough, as you said, it is so well revered in the community. People love it. You didn't watch the whole thing. You watched a lot of it, didn't you?
I watched it all.
Okay, you watched it all. How do you find that? I mean, there are some scenes which are just cooked, right?
There are 2 scenes in it that are quite disturbing.
Yes.
One of them at the start, which you probably saw in the hallway.
It's when I stopped, yes.
That's not the worst scene.
Oh, God.
That's not the worst thing.
Okay.
The one that happens, I think it's maybe the penultimate episode. That went too fucking far.
Right.
But like, as you said, the world build is phenomenal. There are some really fascinating, rich characters in there. The animation is great, but like, there's just those 2 things. Like, you could snip.
It's a problem, but it'll be topping the Reddit lists. It'll be topping the Anime Corner list. People will be going off about it, and that's the thing. But like, just for me personally, I don't know. But that also brings us to another show this season and another ethical quandary.
Is it another baby reincarnation story?
It is not. It is the remake of Rurouni Kenshin. Now, we talked about this. Well, we didn't actually. We talked about it very briefly at the very top of our Samurai Ninja episode with Luis Fortunato. Because basically we talked a lot about, in the previous episode we recorded, we talked a lot about Rurouni Kenshin, and now the actual show isn't problematic at all. In fact, it's quite a wonderful show, but the person who wrote it is inherently and horribly problematic and was found guilty of a pretty horrible thing. But of course, it does beg the question, and it's probably a conversation that's too big for now, but it is, of course, can you separate the art from the artist? It is a real question, and we decided for that episode that we would not feature Rurouni Kenshin prominently at all, and so we did not.
Despite it being the most iconic samurai show ever made.
Absolutely.
So that was hard to talk about that genre without the main one.
It was tough.
But I mean, I think we can all say that show had a huge impact on our love for anime. It's one of the first animes I got into.
The gateway for us.
There's some live action films, like there's some great people have done really good things with this particular person's IP. So that's all I'll say on it. So I'd be interested in who's animating it.
Now, here's where it gets very interesting. It's being animated by Liden Films, who are terrible. So they did Tokyo Revengers, famously a dreadful adaptation. They also did Berserk 2016, the remake.
Yeah, right.
Which was fucking haggard. So not a good start. It's not a good studio. So that's the thing. If it was like UFO Table or if it was like Madhouse or something, I'd be like, oh shit, probably gonna watch that, because that's probably gonna be sick. But I don't know if I could, there's always the ethical quandary, but also now that it's Liden Films, who just famously suck, I'm like, just think I'm just not going to do it. Hey, it's an interesting topic and something that, comes in hand with Mushoku Tensei. Obviously, the writer didn't do anything like this with Mushoku Tensei, but his product, his cultural product is problematic, whereas Kenshin, the creator of the cultural product, is problematic. So it's quite interesting.
There's another one called Liar Liar.
Yes.
Which is not an anime adaptation of the beloved Jim Carrey movie. Much to my dismay, I'm upset. I clicked on it and I went, well, shit, I don't know what this is. Look, this could very easily be another Dead Mount Dead play by reading the synopsis. A mind game of lies and deceit begins. At Academy Island, students battle in games to win stars, hoping to earn the prestigious title 7-star. Sarase is last year's champion and is on track to win again until Hiroto, a new transfer student, hits the scene. Surprisingly, Hiroto defeats her by sheer luck. Now he must use bluffs and trickery to stay on top. Look, I mean, I'm invested.
It sounds like a Tomodachi game. I'm fucking in, dude.
I heard
love
Academy
that show.
Island. And I heard
Academy Island?
Like, I just went...
Nothing possible I could go wrong.
I have no clue what this is. Oh, wait, hang on. It's the same animation studio as Sam's favourite show, Death Mount Death.
Oh, no. She's cooked. She's done. It's over.
Everyone's going to have a Dead Mount Death play every season. Here it is.
Yeah, so I don't really know what to expect, but to be fair, that synopsis,
that's pretty simple.
I'll probably watch it.
I'm definitely going to watch that. At least one until it fucking kicks me in the teeth.
So watch this space.
Watch this space. Great. Do you know much about Dark Gathering?
I've read a few issues of the manga. So it's about this guy who survives an attack when he's like very young, and his arm gets like, I won't say haunted, but cursed.
Spiritual injury, right?
He's also like a teacher, and he takes on a new student who is creepy as all hell. She has like multiple pupils in each eye that kind of allow her to see the demon world and the real world. She captures spirits in teddy bears, and then she tortures them, I believe. Creepy. Exorcists. Could be good. Could be crap.
How'd you find, how many issues of the manga did you read?
Probably we got about 5 or 6.
Okay, so
first one is probably the longest opening one I've ever read.
Really?
Like, yeah, it was really long. Like, it was fine.
But you dropped
it.
it.
Fine. I haven't dropped it. I just there's so much to read.
Anything else from anybody for this season?
There's a bunch of things here, like nothing that's really sticking out, except for, of course, Reincarnated as a vending machine. Which is reborn as a vending machine. I now wander the dungeon.
Was he a baby vending machine?
This synopsis truly deserves an award. The future of this fantasy world now lies in the hands of a vending machine. Hakon was once a human until he died in an accident and was reincarnated as a sentient piece of machinery. While he can still hear and see, there is no way for him to move by himself or speak more than his programmed phrases. How can he make the most of this strange new life? Now, I think that sounds like the best show ever.
That sounds...
And I'm not even joking. I'm going to watch that, and I can't wait. So that's actually my top pick, and I'm not being sarcastic. Then Jujutsu Kaisen. I want this vending machine anime to change my life. Like, that's what I want. Like, give me... if you're going to do an isekai reincarnation story...
do some dumb shit.
Make it
no
lit.
more babies. Let's just do random appliances and find around the
Absolutely.
streets.
Sentient appliances.
I can't find anything problematic with a vending machine. I mean, it depends what he sells. Depends on what he sells in a vending machine.
Yeah, but little do you know, it's one of those Japanese underwear vending machines.
What fantasy world has a vending machine? Like, what is this world built?
Wait and find out.
Honestly, I
watch
can't
and find out.
fucking wait. So I'll be reporting back on vending machine.
Definitely.
There's a new Fate series starting.
Oh, God.
By A1 Pictures.
Oh, okay.
Fate, Strange, Fake, Whispers of Dawn. Seems to be set...
They're just picking random words.
Fuck, I
can't
smushing them together.
Scrabble. Fuck yeah. Seems to be set many years after the Fifth Holy Grail War. Yeah, the Grail.
We know what this is about.
People are coming.
Champions.
Is there a
Servants
vending
and masters.
machine?
Yes.
Just falls on
Someone
He's the actual Holy Grail.
I got the dud.
No.
So yeah, it's A1 Pictures, like, so it's going to look...
It'll look good.
It'll look pretty
They often
schmick,
do.
but...
Nier Automata has got coming back.
Yes. So I was up to date on that. I look forward to that returning. That was really cool. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I'm hoping that they can actually finish it this time.
Yeah.
That was a real problem. Also A1 Pictures. So I guess they've got themselves back on track. There's also Bungo Stray Dogs season 5, but I've watched like 2 episodes and couldn't get into it. Devil is a Part-Timer season 2. Don't worry, I'm not going to quote Einstein today. Again, we're probably not going to watch it. I know I went real hard on it last time, being like
so hard on
quoting
it.
like fucking like post-capitalist
The greatest minds of
Einstein
the
and all
20th
this fucking
century,
shit. And then I was just like, it shows that you're kind of problematic. Towards the end, I was like, there's a lot of fan service. Oh man, like I really hoped you'd be more than you are, but it wasn't. So yeah.
I look very forward to finding out shows that we've missed for this. And
Always hit us up in the
waiting and
comments.
see. Please recommend away, because honestly, I get distracted by vending machines and my anger towards reincarnated babies. And I get lost in the seasons. And so I need some guidance.
Yeah, guide us, please. Well, that is our double whammy episode of the Spring Roundup and our little summer hype up / predictions. Thank you so much for following us. As always, you can, of course, find us on all of our social media and, of course, our website, which is www.gatewaytoanime.com. You can find us, of course, on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, and wherever you find and listen to your podcast. You can also join our Patreon if you really want. We're about to really hit that up hard now, so it's something you can join our Discord, which is a major part of it. We've got a lot of cool channels and things going on there. You can hang out and talk with us in that said Discord, and we're about to be doing much more specialized content for our patrons who we could not thank enough and could not be without. We thank you for all of your support so far, and if you want to join, please do. We're a small operation. Obviously, we work hard at this, but any help is much appreciated. And thank you so much. We're another exciting season of anime to come, another quite surprising season just gone. And let us know what we've missed. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.